running along the top of your screen any moment. I do record these sessions and then post them to a YouTube channel. I will also send a recap, and in that recap, we'll break down kind of everything that we're going through so you guys can pay attention. Don't feel the need to take any, unnecessary notes, or do whatever, works for you in regards to this kind of these kind of sessions. What the process is, and what I really want to emphasize, is it really comes down to workflow. If you organize all this stuff properly and time block yourself appropriately, this doesn't have to be a daunting task at all. And before we dive into everything, I'm going to note that if anybody has any questions, please note them in the chat, which should be somewhere along this side of your Teams app if you've got the chat open. Otherwise, please remain muted throughout the entirety of the session for time purposes. I take questions at the end, but if you're worried about forgetting something, like I said, utilize the chat. I will also address those at the end as well. I think that's it in regards to my housekeeping notes. So a bit of why this is happening. There's a great call that I think all agents should be a part of. If you're in my Monterey region, we just talked about it in my our Monday meeting. If you're in my Santa Cruz region, we'll be talking about it later. The TMAP calls. So this month at Product Studio, which is a breakdown of all of the tools and developments and all the things Coldwell Banker is doing for its agents. So it's a very transparent look at everything that's going on. They happen monthly. They are available to sign up in Sales Pro. And if you guys are taking them, then you're going to know what I'm already talking about. If you haven't been involved, what we've been doing over the last year is developing the Listing Concierge software in-house, because the third party that originally developed it couldn't necessarily accommodate the changes that we wanted made that our agents had voiced. Also, the foundation that the software itself was built on wasn't necessarily going to be able to reach the end game that Coldwell Banker had set up for its plan for the event. And what happened as a result is that you then see our own internal version being created, where we will then launch Listing Concierge out of in the future. So everything that is in that old platform will unfortunately not transfer over, since it's going to be our developed software versus a third party's. So this is the process we're going to go over: downloading all of that stuff first to your computer. And then once it's saved there, the upload process is fairly simple across the board, whether you want to use OneDrive like we're using in my example, or you want to use, if you already pay for like Dropbox or iCloud or Google Drive, what have you. It's all generally the same. It all starts on how well the workflow is organized in the process, and saving stuff to the computer will then determine the ease on the actual upload. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I am going to share over my screen, and I've got everybody should be muted. I'm going to go ahead and just do that one more time just in case. And whoop. All right, let's roll. So, as I said, we're downloading all of your assets from Listing Concierge. Let's get out of this. This will all start, obviously, in CB Desk, where just a brief glimpse of what we're looking at. I am in the Listing Concierge tile, and what we're talking about saving is, obviously I'm not an agent, so I've had one of my agents was kind enough to let me use his account as an example. And we're talking about saving the completed orders out of your system, so you'll be able to utilize any piece of marketing that was done therein for future purposes, whether it be listing presentations, personal marketing, online marketing, whatever the case may be. This way you have those assets and can use them in the future. Before we download everything to the system, what we need to do is save everything to the computer. And what I recommend doing is first create a folder. I do it on my desktop because it's then easy to find and manage, but we want to create a folder called Listing Concierge Assets. With the Windows machine, you're just going to right click, new, and right there, you'll have a new folder. And like I said, we're going to call this Listing Concierge Assets. And then we're going to look at my example here. I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's look at my example here, and you will see I've got all of my addresses. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger for you guys. Oh, looks like that's as big as it's going to get. But I've got a bunch of addresses in here. So we've got 123 Fake Street, 234 Blank Street, and then we've got the listing I'm going to save, which is 125 32nd Avenue, Santa Cruz. And again, you can always create new folders. So in this Listing Concierge Assets folder, we will then be creating all of our subfolders, which is every listing we are saving. And save them by their addresses. And then you will see what we will do is then take all of the resources out of the Listing Concierge for that specific listing. Woo! Reminder, please, everybody stay muted throughout the entirety of the class. Thank you. Moving on. We want to save all of the assets for a specific listing into a specific folder. I got ahead and zoomed that in a little bit. So like I said, this is the listing we are going to be saving everything for. And that is the folder we've got created in here. Now, obviously, right now, everything is blank. We're going to go through the process of saving this one listing. And this is where we talk about workflow, right? We've got everything set up and organized for how it's going to be downloaded into the computer. I've booked myself a half hour in which I am going to save everything I need for this one listing. If you guys plan that kind of time out for yourselves, we're talking no more than an hour or two a week. If you've got 2 listings in here, whether you've got 20 listings in here, as long as you plan ahead, this won't be a daunting task at all. Now, what we're going to do is we've got the order I want. I'm going to hit manage order. That's going to dive us right into our listing dashboard, where we can see, try and zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. We can see everything associated with the gold package that was purchased for this listing, 125 32nd Avenue in Santa Cruz. Obviously, everything that's been completed has been completed. We're just missing our just sold postcards, but I digress. The assets that will be saved out of this system, a lot of them are going to be done in the same way. The mailer, the brochure, the banner, if you created one, your advertising, those are all downloaded. The just sold postcards are all downloaded in the same way. You'll download a PDF that we'll do together. Things like the links associated with the property website, and if you wanted to save the link to the video or a Matterport, those are all done in the same way. And then we'll also go over downloading the actual commercial itself, because you guys should all be doing that, not just for saving purposes, but to make sure you're then re-uploading that to your own social media channels, your own YouTube, your own Instagram, your own Facebook. Now, we're going to start with the photography, because that's the big thing. So now if you used one of the, I think we're now up to 5. If you use one of the 5 Listing Concierge photographers, all you got to do is click on photos, and you will see everything that was already uploaded in the system, nice and clean and in here for you. If you used a third-party photographer, you've already got those photos somewhere else. I'm not going to get into that. We're just talking about the ones that you had purchased through this system, because those are the ones you're going to have to save through this system. All you have to do is click that beautiful Select All button. It's going to do exactly what it says. It will select all of the photos, and then we're going to click High Res. That's the only one we care about. Those are your print-ready photography, and it is, like it sounds, the highest resolution that was put into the system. If you need, for whatever reason, a lower resolution version of that photo, you can create one, or whomever is doing the marketing work for you can create that from the high resolution version. You cannot create a high res photo out of a low res photo. So always just save the high resolution. And as you can see, the whole time I've been rambling, those have been downloading right here in the bottom left. Now on a Windows machine and on most machines, you should have a folder that says downloads that they will all get saved into. Let's go over what we need to do now. I'm going to minimize that. Let's go back. I've got my Listing Concierge assets open. I'm going to close that. That's still right here. I pulled it out to make it easy to see. So I'm going to go ahead and click Start. Let's go into my File Explorer, which is going to open my documents. I can click on Downloads right here, and boom, I can see my listing photos are right there. So now all I have to do is open my Listing Concierge assets, and I can see 125 32nd Avenue. I am going to left click and hold down and then drag that folder. As you can see, now it says move to Listing Concierge assets. We're going to take it one step folder, hover over the folder I want it to go into. And I don't know if you guys can read that, but it now says move to 125 32nd Avenue, Santa Cruz. That's where these photos are from. Now I'm going to let go of the left click, and just like that, if I open up that folder, now my listing photos have been saved within the subfolder for 125 32nd Avenue. Perfect. Now it's a rinse and repeat for all the other assets that I want. Let's go back into our system. We're going to go back to the listing dashboard, which will again take us to all of the assets that we have created. Let's do the brochure. Now the brochure and mailer are downloaded in the same way. I went ahead and clicked on the mailer. As you can see, we've got this little arrow that says download. I'm going to click on that and download it. And then let's go back to the dashboard and do the same for the brochure. And these are the final PDF proofs that you had sent to you. And all we gotta do is, again, click on that little gray arrow and the download will start. And I'm using Google Chrome. With Google Chrome, you'll see this little arrow next to your file. We can click that and hit this button, Show in Folder. That's gonna open us right up into the Downloads folder. And I can see these two PDFs that have now been saved that are called Preview and a bunch of numbers, right? That does me no good in the long term. So let's find out what these are exactly. I'm gonna open one up, and I just need to sign into my Adobe account real quick. Give me one moment. Whoops. Now, let's say we're just saving these because, again, we're really happy with the listing. We're really happy with the work that was done. We want to be able to utilize these to be able to show to prospective clients or future clients what we do versus, if you guys have worked with me at all in the past or been in any of my other classes, you always hear me say, people hear with their eyes. If you can show someone something, it works 1,000 times better than you just telling them something. I digress. Now that we're signed in, we've opened this file up, and I can see that this is my mailer, right? This is what went out in my silver envelopes. So we can talk about, how we advertise a listing and how, etc. This is what we do. I know that this is the file that we just opened. I'm going to right click on that because, again, preview with a bunch of numbers does us no good. I am going to hit rename after I have right clicked, and we're going to call this mailer. And by default, I know that the other one is the brochure, but we're going to open it again, make sure it looks pretty, it looks good. This is our brochure that we use to advertise the property. I am going to right click. I'm going to rename it brochure. And now I can drag both of these, just like we did with our photos, into 125 32nd Avenue, Santa Cruz. I let go of my left click. As you can see, they're no longer in the downloads folder. I'm going to close that. I'm going to open our Santa Cruz folder. Now we've got listing photos, brochure, and mailer all handily saved in that system. Going back into our listing concierge. We're going back to the dashboard. Now, let's talk about something that isn't saved in the same manner. The advertisement that happened on television. Again, what's going to work better? You saying, I can put your ad on TV and here's where it's going to go. Or you going, let me show you, this is the ad, this is where it runs, and build that into your presentations. You can do that by making sure it is uploaded to your own channel so you can have it posted into a digital Moxie presentation. The video of the commercial is always made available right here in your listing concierge. And as you can see, it's been posted to the At Home in Northern California YouTube page. I have a whole session of classes I do on YouTube. Videos are already recorded about that, so we're not going to get into all of that. We're just going to save this video, and that's what we need to do. So you can grab this link right here and copy it. Also the same exact link that you will get by going to share, the same link, and we're going to go to this website, y2mate.com. That'll allow us to download that YouTube video. I will link this in your recap so you don't have to worry. All you have to do is paste. We're going to see that we've got a 720p, that's the highest quality version, and we're going to hit download. Once that starts, you will see this window pop up. You will see a green bar will start to grow for the progress. Once that is finished, these dots will turn into a download button. All we have to do is click that, and we can ignore every other pop-up that comes up. I'm going to go ahead and close this window. We don't need this anymore. My video is downloaded, so I can close this window. I don't need it anymore. We can go back to our listing concierge. I'm going to minimize this. We're going to go back to our downloads. And there's our commercial. Again, click, drag, hold, drop. Now it is in the folder with the photos and the brochure and the mailer. Back here. Now, what about links? Things like Matterports, websites, and if you just wanted to save the link to this video. This listing, it's a gold listing. It doesn't have a Matterport, but let's say this is our Matterport link. So we've copied it. Easiest thing to do is open up a Word document. This is our great time to introduce the Office 365 and Email tab, which is located in your CB desk. For those that missed it, I am back on CB desk. We are clicking on Office 365 and Email, and you should then open up into your Office suite. I'm going to sign in with my CB desk account because that is what everything is associated with. This is what we will use to get to OneDrive. Put a pin in that. We're going to get to that in just a sec. What we're going to use right now is Microsoft Word. We're going to click on that and create a new blank document. This document, we are then going to title. I'm just going to zoom in and make that a little bigger. As you can see right here, we can click right at the top where it says Document 3 and give it a name. I'm going to call it Links for 125 32nd Avenue, Santa Cruz. Very original, but it'll serve our purpose. Now all I have to do is, this works like any other word processor. Put it in the middle. It actually works just like Microsoft Word's processor because it is Microsoft Word's processor. Oops. And let's go YouTube. And we paste our link. And now we can go back to our Listing Concierge dashboard. We can go to the dashboard. Let's go to the property website. Let's say I was really happy with the property website. I'm going to go choose the one that was created, grab the URL to that. And again, we can just click on it, come up here, copy, Control C, which is the shortcut. And that's what you're going to use to paste it in here, which is Control V. We're going to go website, Control V. And just like that, we've got, and whatever links, you've got a Matterport, if you've got a Vimeo video that you've downloaded, whatever other links you have, this is where you save them. And then all we have to do is click File, Save As, download a copy. And guess what's just happened? As you can see right down here, it has downloaded a copy to our computer, which guess what we're going to do with? We are going to drag it into 125 32nd Avenue, and now all of those assets are saved there as well. Now, for time purposes, let's say I have saved everything I've needed. I've covered everything that you can download, or everything that can be downloaded in different ways. Like the advertising, if you wanted to save this, you can download that. It just gives you what the ad looked like. I would very much make sure, for example, in my region, if you purchased the Bay Area News Group, you grabbed a list of those publications and where they ran and saved them. So, you had a list of all the papers that it was going into, or if you had one of the papers, that's always a great example. But again, just for purposes, we've downloaded that, changed the name, all of that's done the same way. Now we want to upload all of this stuff to OneDrive. Let's say I've not only done this listing, but I've got all my listings, my Blank Street, Fake Street, Santa Cruz, all of my listings are now saved, and I want to upload them for long-term storage purposes into our cloud storage space. Let's go into, let's go ahead and close these. So again, all listings are saved. Everything about all of my listings is good to go. We are going back into CB Desk. We are going to click on Office 365. And we're going to take the pin that we had in our OneDrive and talk about OneDrive in these last few minutes. OneDrive is a cloud storage software provided by Microsoft as a part of the Office 365 bundle. And it works like any other cloud storage partner. As you will see when I log into mine is actually mirroring my computer, but yours, when you open it, may be blank because you guys don't necessarily have anything in there. But it works just like anything else you do on your computer. You will see files. And as you can see rolling along here, there's categories in which you can view them. So these are being sorted in this top right. You can sort your files. The default is by name, but you can also sort them by type, when they were modified by their size. That can also be done by clicking on any of these bars, just like you would on any spreadsheet. On your left-hand column here, in your OneDrive, you will have, recently changed folders. You've got things that you're sharing people with. I'm not going to cover too much of that because it has, no huge value to you guys. You've got a recycle bin for things you've accidentally deleted. And again, when you're in here, you can select individual folders. As you can see, it works just like any file editor in any space that you're operating in. What we're going to do and is make use of some of this stuff right here. As you can see in our toolbar up here, you've got new, which will allow you to create new items in your OneDrive. Sync, if you've got it connected to your computer. Automate, which we're not going to get into. But upload is what we want to focus on, right? So again, in our example, we have saved everything we needed. That 125 32nd Avenue was my last listing that I was saving everything from. And now we're all ready to go. So all I have to do is hit upload and hit folder. And now I can go to my desktop and choose Listing Concierge Assets and hit upload. And in one foul swoop, everything in that system or in that folder will be uploaded into this system. And as you can see, a progress bar pops up where you can see all of the items that are being uploaded, and immediately a Listing Concierge Assets folder is created. You can see a few seconds ago by me. And once it is complete, everything has been saved. And that's it. That's all you guys got to do. I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and open up the floor for any questions. But this process, like I said, is basically the same with Google Drive and iCloud or OneDrive, like we're using. All that you really want to accomplish with the cloud storage aspect of it is getting it saved for long-term purposes off of any kind of hardware that could potentially fail, and then you could lose those materials, those assets for future marketing purposes for your business. All right, enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and see if there's any questions. I will also be checking the chat. I do not see any questions in the chat. So anybody feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions you would like to ask. I will put 60 seconds on the clock.
Hi, Anush.
Yes.
Hi, it's Renee. So I have a question for you. So I always do the silver package. So I have to actually hit every single one, download it to save it, correct?
Every individual asset you will need to save, yes. Just like I did in our example.
Okay.
Anything that you're going to want to. Now, here's the thing, and that's what I put the emphasis on. It's whatever you feel you need to save. Now, for, I want to say the business student in me, let's say, wants to say save everything, because you're never going to know what will be of value in future marketing. But if you know that, certain listings aren't ever going to be a part of a larger discussion beyond, someone being on your website and seeing it as a part of your sold history, then, you may choose to go ahead and skip that, saving that particular listing. But any individual asset that you want will have to be saved for each specific listing. So that's why I say planning out and having a folder created on your desktop first for each listing, and then just saving them one by one is going to be the best way to just kind of keep yourself organized about it all.
Okay. And then are we still using Listing Concierge, or is that completely going away? And then when do we start with the new?
It's still going to be Listing Concierge. So the difference is the software is going to be now something that was developed and managed in-house by Coldwell Banker versus the third party that had originally developed the software in which Listing Concierge currently exists. Because of the limitations of just, their foundation on what the software was built on, and where we as a company wanted to see this program grow, and where our agents wanted to see it grow, it made more sense for Coldwell Banker to then develop it in-house. As you can imagine, because we are then developing our own version of the software, they're not necessarily eager to make the transition a seamless handoff. So they're going to close their version at their point, but there's not going to be a transfer, because they're no longer involved in the new version. It's completely going to be managed by Coldwell Banker in-house. And our region will be kicking off in the third week of July. You guys will see much more specific emails with a actual date when we get closer to it.
Okay. All right. So I got everything except for your little, I believe it was the TV part, but that's okay. I'll go back over your video, but thank you. And also too, I use Google Drive to download most of my, you know, folders, if you will, and subfolders. So thank you.
Yeah, and like I said, the process will be just the same. If you've got everything organized onto one folder and prepped and ready to go, then when you go into Google Drive, you'll see the same option under the upload banner to upload an entire folder, and you can do it in one swoop. Oop, got something in the chat. Oh, you are welcome. Any other questions? All right. I don't want to keep you guys for much longer. Thank you all for attending. In the recap, there will be a link to a survey. Much like the rest of my colleagues, any feedback that you can give is greatly appreciated. I hope you guys found this valuable. Again, if you time block it out, we're talking about no more than a couple of hours a week. You'll have this done before the 3rd week of July, no problem. Reach out to your FMS or SSA. We're more than happy to help with the process if it feels a little overwhelming. I will include the video in the recap that you guys get sent, so you don't have to worry about that. Everybody take care. Have an awesome week.